Hello. Our next task requires that we add loans payable to our spreadsheet. So our spreadsheet is getting bigger and more complicated and more realistic, right? So just like with the others, we will add a new spreadsheet to it, a new tab, and we call this one loans. Okay. Then we go back to the previous sheet and intersection, Control C, go to our new sheet, intersection, Control V, go back to the old sheet, escape from that, go to the new sheet, freeze our panes, and now we can begin. Okay, and again, we're utilizing the techniques that we used in the previous sheets, previously built sheets. Okay, everything is the same. Conceptually, it's the same. So let's start with a name. Let's call this loans payable. Then the next line will be beginning balance. What makes loans payable increase? Well, it would be new loans. What makes loans payable decrease? It's the principal reduction. And then we have an ending balance. Unlike the other tables, though, we need a few other helpers. We need a helper line or two. And the helper line or two will be, we need a line for payments, and we need a line for interest. Okay. And this is done primarily for clarity, because we could have all of this in this line. We could have these two included here, but then it would make for one big jumbled equation, and we don't want to do that. We want to be able to always see where we are, understand what we've done, and so we break this up in this manner. Okay. So our beginning balance. Well, first of all, we need some variables, right? So variables will be the loan term and the interest rate, right? So our loan term is 10 years, and the interest rate is 10%. And we can paint these green, so we know they're variables. You can attach comments to these so that you'll know what these are. This is 10 years, this is 10%. Okay, so we go now to our beginning balance. Our beginning balance now, unlike previous spreadsheets, our beginning balance is going to be, well, it's going to be the same as our ending balance here. And what is our ending balance here? Our ending balance here is the loan that we took out on day one. So this is our ending balance. Okay. So our beginning balance is equal to this ending balance. This is our beginning balance. We have no new loans. Now we have to determine what the principal reduction is going to be. And the principal reduction is included in the payments that we make. This kind of loan is paid off on a flat basis, the same amount each month. It's like if you have a car loan or a mortgage, you pay whatever per month, and that payment consists of interest and principal reduction. And so the place that we can determine that kind of payment is the PMT function. And we can access the PMT function by going to click on f of x, and our PMT is there. If it's not there, we can find it. You can put a search in this box. But there's our PMT function here. So we click on OK, and we get our dialog box that opens. So PMT function, rate, and one of the good things about these dialog boxes is that they explain what each of these items are. Rate is the interest rate per period for the loan. So our rate is here, 10%. This is for a year, so this needs to be divided by 12. And out here you can see this says a monthly interest rate of that amount. Number of periods is the total number of payments for the loan. Our periods are here. This is 10 years. This is, again, a year, so we need to multiply this by 12. And you get 120 periods, and that's correct. That's what we want. Our present value is this amount. This is what our present value is now. And you want to put a negative sign in front of this so that Excel will treat this as a positive number. So it's minus that number. And you can see that when you've completed this, you get an answer. So there's our answer, $13,215. Click OK. And there's our payment. Payment is $13,215. Interest. So this is payment. Now what is the interest that we are being charged for this loan? Well, it's based on what the outstanding balance is at that period of time. Interest equals principal times rate times the time. So this is the principal, this is the rate, and the time is 1 month. So let's do that. Equal principal times the rate. This is the rate, and we know we need to make that into absolute value. And then since we need it for 1 month, not a year, we want to divide this by 12. And we get an interest rate of interest amount of $8,333. We want to get rid of those decimal places. $8,333. Now we can proceed. Principal reduction is the difference between these two. So this is the payment. Included in this payment is this interest amount. The difference between these two is the principal reduction. We want this principal reduction to be a negative amount because it's what makes loans payable decrease. So we'll say equal that minus this to get a negative number. Okay? And our ending balance will be the sum of all of this. And do a auto sum here. So this is our ending balance. Now, we need to extend this table out, this lower table, so that we can have something for this upper table to look at. The payment is going to be the same each and every month, and the easiest way to affect that is to just link this. Okay, and then you can drag this over the remaining 4 months. $13,215 each month. Interest is going to be, you can drag that over. No, you can't drag that over. You have to, we need a balance here in order to drag it over. So, if we drag this over, now we get an interest amount. Now this interest amount is, let's do that again. That might have been just a little confusing. If we drag this over now, we get $82.93, which is this times the rate times the time. Okay? So we should be able to drag these other two lines over. And what you want to make sure that's happening is that this is going in the right direction. What should happen is interest should be decreasing and principal reduction should be increasing. More of the payment is going for principal, less of it is going for interest. And once we get all of that done, we should be able to drag all of this over and drag this over. Okay. And our table is complete, and our interest has decreased as it should, and our principal reduction has increased as it should. Right? Now, just like always, the most difficult part is getting this information into the financial statement. What you're doing is booking an entry for payment, and an entry for payment is, it would be a debit to loans payable, debit to interest expense, and a credit to cash. Paying $13,215 is broken up into two pieces: $8,333 for interest, $48.82 for principal reduction. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And this ending balance will be inserted into our financial statements. Here's our loans payable amount. This is the month that this will be inserted. Month 1 already has an amount. Day 1 already has an amount. Month 1 now will have this amount, this ending balance. And you notice that the red comes in like it should. You notice that the amount that we're out by is just $48.82, and that represents the principal reduction. That $48.82 is the principal reduction. So that's the debit to interest expense, $48.82. I'm going to drag this over. So that's the first part of our entry, getting that debit to loans payable into the balance sheet. The next piece of this is to get interest expense into the income statement. So we need interest expense. So we need to insert a row. Insert it any place. This is good a place as any. Insert an entire row. Call it interest expense. here. This amount is not a variable, so you need to take the green shading out. By inserting it in the middle like that, we probably will not have that problem with the total not including that. So let's see what happens. We want to make this into a negative number, equal minus, and this comes from our table that we just constructed. There's our interest there, 8333. Enter. Now you notice the amount that we're out by is the payment, and that's the last piece of this that has to go into the balance sheet, into the cash flow statement rather. Drag this across. 13,215, and we're out by. This is our income statement. Our income statement looks correct. So let's go to our cash flow statement now, and we can make this line into loan repayment. Purchase of fixed assets, that's no longer an issue for us, so we can make this into loan payment. That's going to again come from our table. That's the 13,215, and that'll be a negative number. So equal negative, go down to 13,215. Enter. The red has gone away. I'm going to drag this over the rest of the way. So that the red has gone away out of the balance sheet. Income statement looks good. We still have one problem, and it's in the cash flow statement. The cash flow amounts are out of balance, and the amount that's out of balance is the 4882, right? And that represents the principal reduction. The remainder of the payment, the 13,215, the remainder of the payment is already included here in the 60,834 as interest expense. So that's why we don't have to put the entire payment in. So what we want to put in is just the principal reduction, and that'll be a negative, and it's already a negative in the table, so we can just go and copy that amount. And the red has gone away. And if we drag this over, the red has gone away everywhere. And it looks like we have a complete financial statement. Let's go to the top and look at our summaries. There are no holes. There are no holes here. There's one hole here for interest expense. I'm going to drag that down. You know we're all right because our income is equal to our retained earnings. 3,066,304, 3,066,304, 3,066,304. So now we have financial statements that represent loans payable, and loans payable being paid off.